Sorry, I just got my air guitar out there. Welcome, one and all, to IPSA Kind of Magic. It is a show totally in celebration of IPSA, which, of course, is the Independent Personal Search Agents Association, at the moment chaired by Hamish McLay, and one of its primary movers, one of its founder members, I would say, Dyson. Oh, pardon, Dawson.
Yep, Dyson. Yep.
Jackie Dyson of the Yorkshire Search Agent. I need to put my teeth back in. Search Agency Limited. And welcome all of you after a wonderful festive rest. I hope you're ready to rock and roll in as much as I am. Without further ado, and as is traditional on this channel, I'm going to throw Hamish straight under the bus.
Well, a happy new year to everybody. I should say it was quite interesting. There was a message somewhere yesterday which asked the question, when do you stop saying Happy New Year to people? The answer is when you choose to. I think we with freedom of speech, I think we're allowed to say that, aren't we? Without sort of fear of whatever may happen.
I don't think the style police will be out for us if we do wish each other a Happy New Year. I think when you say Happy New Year, it's a wistful belief that if by saying it, you're promoting the idea that your new year will be happy. And I think that's a lovely thing to do. And I wish both of you the happiest of 2025.
Thank you.
Well, let me just add to that, Gareth. Thank you kindly. We can only ever be as happy as we choose for ourselves to be.
Oh, blimey. Careful now. Yes, you're probably right. It is a choice. I think many times people think they're shooting for happiness, and shooting for happiness is a bit like fighting for war. It's pointless. Fighting for peace, I should say. It's pointless. The only way you can make happiness is by putting yourself in the right position in which you can be happy. So surrounding yourself with decent people, working with people that make you make you feel that you're actually achieving things, that people who want to be there, and I think that, dare I say it, is part of the IPSA challenge. You IPSA members like being with each other, and the conference that's coming up will illustrate exactly that.
And supporting each other too.
Yes,
and we sunshine here in North Oxfordshire to get us all into it.
Yep.
It seemed a good idea to me to have a little sort of let's have a little speak and remind people of what IPSA happens to be about, because while starting that new year, we're also entering that particular season where everybody's trying to sell their wares, they're trying to monetize data and sort of all the rest of it.
Yeah.
And all too often they've got their sales hat on and they're trying to sell you the wondrous prospects of buying data from them, like one from a factory, like you do from Amazon and all the rest of it. And really, it's just that little reminder. People can do that. Good heavens. But we should, like mentioned earlier, freedom of choice should have an element of freedom of speech as well. People are entitled to do what they choose to do. But it's a reaffirmation of the significant advantages that can actually be gained from an independence of choice rather than a forceful nature, because it's easier to listen to people who make a loud noise, whereas those that are a bit more subtle sometimes have a better answer.
Yes, and I think subtlety is part of the deal here, isn't it, Jackie? The whole idea is that rather than just giving the bare bones, you dig a little bit further, you ask a few more questions, you get a better picture of what's needed, and that helps the homeowner as well.
Oh, yes, it does, certainly, because it's the biggest expense that you will invest in your life. So if you look at things, you've got to make savings, to be able to do the process. And one of the areas to make savings is with the search process, because they can end up very, very expensive. And majority of the independent companies, such members of IPSA, have a better choice because they can do a package of all the searches that you need. So therefore, you can make a saving just by going to one person, and instead of your conveyancer going to each individual person and purchasing the searches that you need. So it's something to really look at, is the independence of IPSA members.
Yeah, I mean, just to sort of add on to what you just sort of said there, Jackie, too, we will actually sort of find, fortunate those of us who are able to attend the particular sort of conference, but we will have at least 2 or 3 speakers who will be able to actually sort of reinforce what it is about IPSA members that makes the type of support they give particularly good. And one of those major aspects is
Thank you.
The relationship that we actually have with the independent, or I should say the separate councils that we work with. When we actually look at different styles, different types, different ways of obtaining that particular data, we can actually go to a particular source, a factory sort of type source, that particular sort of source of supplier that offers one of those sort of call center type sort of approaches, whereby somebody can sit at a desk and can gather information. Very, very often, though, they will not have that personal local relationship with the community where the property actually sort of resides. And those of us who've worked over the years, I mean, Jackie particularly, Jackie goes back, last century. Jackie.
Yeah.
Don't like saying that again, but no, the thing is, when we go back to the background where that information actually, and the length of time that some people have actually been working, I think one of the great things we will see as well at our conference is there are family members who have taken on board the original businesses which were set up during, in fact, the last sort of century. And early this particular sort of century, but family members have actually taken up, and they are now running the business as well. And that's a great thing to see, because what does that mean? Continuity of the information. And just one brief here before we pass back to Jackie. When we first started out, there was something like between 360 and 370 individual local councils that we dealt with.
Right.
There are now 296.
That's a proliferation.
Because there are a large number who have become they've combined and become unitary authorities.
Right. But it means the whole process is that much more complex, and therefore having built relationships, as you've explained familiarly over time with the various authorities, means you're far more likely to get a better result.
Yes, you are, because when you put, say, 7 or 8 councils together, amalgamated, they all record information differently. So it's trying to find where that information now is. Where you used to just go to one site and just do everything on that one site. It sometimes makes it a little bit more difficult to find it, because they might put it in a different place.
Right.
So you're constantly updating your information, and you're constantly looking for different ways to find it. And sometimes big is not necessarily better. Definitely not.
Well, no, I know it's been often said big is often better. It's I mean, these days there seems to be a lot of opportunity to go elsewhere than for instance, IPSA. And there are a lot of people, a lot of organizations out there that seem to be worked directly through, for instance, a solicitor. So whoever the solicitor is you're buying a house with might say, use these people, or we'll do your searches for you. Now, that's not necessarily a good idea, is it?
Well, it depends, really. There are some great providers out there. There's no two ways about it. The majority of the best are, however, independent. They don't necessarily need to be IPSA members either, in fairness, because there are some people out there who've been working with local councils. Certainly before my time, I find it doubtful that they were actually involved with land charges as early as Jackie was involved with land charges, because she had the good fortune of, before setting her own business up, of actually being a land charges officer herself.
Yeah.
So she is exactly what goes on at the sort of
gamekeeper turned poacher, really, isn't it?
That's right. Yes, yes.
It also proves the point. I mean, here we are in Oxford. We had a situation come up with one of the searches we were doing, and we did need to go to the council direct to get that information because it was a follow-up sort of type of question we were looking for. And it was Jackie who was able to point us in the right direction. Now, Northumberland, they became a unitary authority in 2009. And here we are, we're entering the 16th year since that happened. And they still haven't got themselves sorted out. They still don't have an easy and straightforward way to go in and get your information from, which in a way speaks for itself, because one of the advantages of working with somebody's familiar with the locality, somebody's familiar with the local councils, when it does become unitary, they know the individual councils that make up that unitary authority. So they know where the information is held. Probably got loads of records too of the work that they've done previously with those individual councils before they became unitary.
It's amazing, actually, because I know, Jackie, you've had a long history with one particular set of councils. I guess that makes you not so much an authority, but more that it oils the wheels of industry, doesn't it? The fact you do that.
Yeah, there's a couple of councils. In fact, Fiona and Nick from North Yorkshire will be more used to it than me. East Riding was one that they were. It was changed to Hull, it was changed to Gould, it was changed back to East Riding, and then it was changed. And each council had their own way of storing information. So when they amalgamated back to the East Riding of Yorkshire, they had several different ways of storing information. Right. And what one council did, another council didn't do, and vice versa. So it made getting that information not only hard for the workers in the council offices, because they were having to check several different lots of records, but the personal searcher going in and making sure that they had got all the information. As Hamish said, Northumberland has now become one big council. North Yorkshire has now become one big council. So as I said, sometimes bigger is not necessarily better. And it does take a long time to sort that information out and making sure it's not how quick you can get it on the system and how quick you can deliver it. It's the accuracy that is important. And that's where your independent searcher comes in, especially IPSA members. We check that information, we double check that information, we treble check that information to make sure that the information the client is getting is correct. And there's not any bumps in the road that they're going to come across, in the future dates. So it is building up that relationships. But now, unfortunately, with a lot of them now, that relationships are sort of going because now it's online. You don't have to go to the offices. So you lose that personal touch in a lot of ways. Although you keep in touch with them by email, I mean, like a lot of them, I know that I'm friends on Facebook and stuff like that because we've known each other for so long. It's that independence gives you that time. You're not rushed unless your client does say it's urgent. But yeah, it does become difficult with things like that. But because we then get to know how these systems work again, then it as time goes on, it becomes a little bit quicker. But it's getting all that information correctly on the system that is the bugbear, I would say. Hamish, with another big one that's going on. So,
is it always hard to get the right information, and is that one of the benefits to having developed that relationship in the first place?
I think, to be perfectly honest, a good, very valid point. And again, this creates and gives peace of mind to those solicitors, particularly, or anybody else for that matter, who comes towards an IPSA member to obtain that information, because there will be consistency throughout. First and foremost, they know the area, but they will also know when there is too much information coming out of It's so easy these days. Like Jackie says, we're so much more in touch now by way of emails, downloading and what have you. It's very easy just to regurgitate information that has been dumped on us or sent through to us, is probably a better way of putting it. So it's sent through to us, but that information still ought to be refined. Now,
yes.
if you're working at vast sort of speeds, which not so much vast speeds, but you have a big stack of stuff to get through, you're not going to take the time to refine that information. You're going to say, right, it's got to be in there, I'll just send it out. And
I think that's absolutely it. It's the working together that sets us apart.
Definitely.
All right. Yeah, somebody ought to copyright that. Now, I just wanted to say to all of you IPSA members, if you're not coming to the great get together, which is what date is it, Hamish?
On the
next Wednesday it starts.
Yeah, I would recommend you do so. It's
actually, some of us will get there because we do have a drinks and a sort of gathering evening before for those of us who can make it, which makes it all the better for the Thursday.
Absolutely. All I was going to say, if you can't make it, why haven't you made it? I went to the previous one; it was brilliant. And you're going to learn and meet all sorts of people. There are new sponsors, so you can get to meet them as well. And Hamish, of course, you'll be speaking there as well. Jackie, will you be going along?
Yes, I'm there. I shall be meeting up with everybody on the Wednesday, a week today, in the afternoon. We have a pre-meeting, which is my first one as executive consultant.
Hooray.
And I am doing a little bit on the 23rd. That's right. I'm just looking. 23rd, which is the actual conference on the Thursday. And I'm doing just a little bit about run-off cover because obviously retiring and my business closing, I've had to sort out run-off cover insurance. So I found out some little bits of information for people to go away and think about because, some people might be winding up, they might be amalgamating. It's cover you've got to take after you finish. And I got a bit of a shock. So I want people to be aware of that shock.
Do you know what? The one thing in business that pretty much every business person likes to be is rid of shocks. The less shocks, the better. And on that note, it only leaves for me to thank Hamish McLay, of course, of Search Convey, who's the brainchild behind this, and Jackie Dawson of
Dyson.
Dyson. Oh my goodness!
Just think of the vacuum cleaner.
You're Jackie vacuum cleaner Jackie Dyson. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. And to all of you out there, I wish you a wonderful rest of the week. And of course, keep your feet on the ground, keep reaching for the stars, and let's look after each other's mental health. Until next time we speak, bye-bye all.
Bye-bye.